So, my name is Vincent Dino Zimmer, and I will tell you a little bit about my work here in Halle and in Leipzig as well. This time I'm hosting you here, the Residency by Kulturprojektor, and I'm very happy to get new influences and to work together with you. Your flats as well, you're living in there in Галле Нойштадт, and first I want to give you a short introduction about Галле Нойштадт, the history of the city, and why this is a very interesting working field for us as artists, as architects, and as designers as well. So the flats, as you know, they have this beautiful view over Галле Нойштадт, which is completely built in the GDR. It has been the biggest housing project, mostly designed by Rіхард Paulik. And the view of the city was completely different like now. Maybe now it has the view of social housing. In the GDR it has been like the greatest idea of how we can live together in the future. And this is maybe as well the connection to the residency with the question of post-industrial art and post-industrial societies, and how we can work together as well over the borders as well, with a war dividing us and making things much more complicated than they must have. So the idea has been to build a new life, to build a new neighborhood where everything is done, where you become hot water out of the walls, where you have nice society and common places where you can meet, where you have greens, where the working situation is safe, where the children is done, where the infrastructure is perfectly matched for a socialist family life. And this has been like, this dream has been living in the GDR, and after the breakdown of the Berlin Wall, the view on this housing idea of the utopia of living together completely changed. It became to an idea of social housing, and the city began to shrink very fast. So lots of the houses has been destroyed yet. And then now in 2015, I think around, when lots of people, lots of refugees came as well, and we needed lots of place for people, and the city began to grow again. So now we destroyed and built new houses on the places, because the shrinking city developed to a city which becomes a new life and a new attraction as well. We are working in Галле Нойштадт with the idea of getting people together who are usually in their daily life segregated by each other, and we try not to do it like we're the artists, we're the idea how it should look like, what is the design. We try to empower the people, so we try to ask the people what should it be designed that it works for them. And mostly in Галле Нойштадт we do it with the children, so we ask them what is the idea how the city should look like if they were the architects, and in the end they are the architects, because we're the architects and we're talking to the city planners, and hopefully the city planners will build what the children said, how the city should look like. And I think this is one idea of designing, or not designing, it's connecting in the end. To go out of the situation, I'm a designer by myself, and to try to connect the people who are really able to say what is the idea of living together in the future there. So that, like, what would make the place so attractive for them, they don't think it's a social housing. What can be the meeting places that the segregation becomes less and the people come together, and what can be the tools to get empowered to redesign and always staying innovative in their own neighborhood, and to see this public space as a space which you can design by your own. So in the end, the utopia would be that all people feel able to design their neighborhood by themselves. So what we did, actually, one of the projects I've opened here is Kaleidoskop Südpark. So we asked the children how the city should look like on this place, and they built like this train. They had a lot of mud where they built houses, and here you can see the children playing in the mud. And we had like a fruit station. We were building all the houses with the children together. And so we tried to get a small one-to-one model how it could look like if the planners are ready. And now it is like we were heard, and the planning of the place begins, and we are going as well in the one-to-one model, which is very important for us to show the people who are maybe don't study designs or architecture and maybe don't have it in their mind how a plan looks in reality. So we build it in one-to-one so we can use it and everyone can use it, and by using feel whether it works, what works wrong. Maybe I need a place to dance, why can I dance here? This is just, you only see this in one-to-one model, and because of this we're trying to do this, and now it's going to the professional part where the garden builders will rebuild the place with the ideas the children mostly brought into. This is like the main idea of my work as well with the people together. I think we try to force democratic views, so we try to bring different people together. We try to build rooms of discussion. We try to connect people who wouldn't connect, and especially we're searching for places where we think it's necessary, so like places where society seems to be very segregated. I came to the Kollektiv in 2015. There was this so-called refugees crisis in Germany. So lots of people came to Europe and wanted to stay, and we went to the borders of Europe and tried to open them. So lots of groups, autonomous anarchist groups, went there and tried to open the borders and bring the people here. And in a way, not because of the groups, because of the people who really wanted this, it worked out, and lots of people came. In the end, Angela Merkel said as our chancellor, yes, we can do it, and it happened, and lots of people came. And then we were in the situation that the people were here, we were fighting for, coming together, and we had no structure to welcome them. We didn't know how to handle this. We had like an old-fashioned picture of people, to integrate people in our society, but there was not the idea to change our society. We thought this being German is the right thing, and if they want to be here, they have to become German. And while this time we restructured the ideas to an idea of an inclusion. So it's not an integration anymore, it's more an inclusion, trying to come together so that our society has to move, has to rethink itself, to welcome the people and to transform to a new transcultural society. So in 2017 we were confronted with the situation of lots of people from Syria arriving, as well architects, as well people who stopped their studies in Syria, and we tried to get like a guest study ship to get them on the universities, to try to get this exchange in between the refugees and their architectural and design point of view and us. And while we built this group, Me You We Do, we became a mixed group of architects and designers, and had the possibility to build an architecture for this cultural space in front of the Grassi Museum in Leipzig. And in the end, this great platform with a stage and with lots of cubes where different things happened was built and designed there in this process. Build up together a cultural program where it was able to see the cultural German things as well as the cultural things people brought to us. For example, we had a big Ramadan party together on the one hand, and on the other hand we tried to bring musical things together, like music we like here and there, and so it was an easy ingoing situation for people who had no contact at all with foreign peoples, for example, and it has been a great party in the end, and we really had 3 months of great discussions, as well as language courses for German as well as for Syrian. So we try to do everything in tandem partnerships. Yes, and by this I came to the Kollektiv Plus X. I'm working now, and this is like what does it mean to work in this collective? So in the main collective we have 4 people, like 4 people working full-time on our art and design projects, but the collective is named Kollektiv Plus X. So we're working together with lots of people and try to force to work together with lots of people to get different perspectives into our view and our design of the world. And this means as well that we pay each other solidarity. So we don't earn like how much money, how much time we spend or something. We earn like how much money we need, which is sometimes strange because, for example, me, I'm a single and I'm a workaholic as well, so I'm working a lot and I don't need so much money because I have no time to spend my money. And my comrade, he has 2 children, he has less time to work but needs much more money, and this is like the idea of being in solidarity and that we get our necessary money for the month. All month we try to get it together. So together we're working for getting every month our minimum, like we're in a real job. But it's, maybe you know it as artists, it's sometimes you have a job, you have some money, then you break down, and it's easier to get through this by being collective and helping each other. As well as working in a collective is for me the only way how I can be creative at all. So it's like very important to get different views, different eyes, different ideas on the same topics, as well as discussing the topics. It's very important for me to be in this exchange. What is the matter? What is the interest of us? And how can we not only discuss the problems, how can we as well discuss the solutions? In this collective idea, the main topic has been to come together and to get this discussion, and the idea, how can we bring other people to our discussions and how can we join the discussions of the others. We built this amphitheater, which is transportable, and we can build it up in 1 hour. And by this we went to political organizations, we went to, for example, like in the ecological movement, we went there and built this, so it's easier to get discussions and plena with lots of people, because everyone can see each other and everyone can hear each other, so you get much more people together to discuss. This is like the easiest, I would say, architecture to get in democratical structure, to work with so many people together without hierarchies. And in this hierarchy-less way, we try to produce all our things, as well as ecological topics we're working on. For example, we built like a tower which is an advertisement for more cycleways. Here in my bag you see this. This has been the wheel of one of the bicycles. It has been a big tower to advertise for a cycling way through Halle and Leipzig to connect the cities without going by car or by train. And now we're as well in a project in Leipzig where we try to get Leipzig completely free of cars, which is the next topic. And it's called Superblock. It's like the super blocks in Barcelona. Maybe if you've heard of this project, they have like big parts of the city completely free of cars, and this is what we try to get in Leipzig as well. And we start now in process of 3 years where we do different infrastructures and try to show the utopia what can happen on the streets if there is no cars, because there's so much space in the city, especially in the urban places, which is completely full of this metal solid cars, property owned, which we can use as common spaces. And what can be the use of these common spaces is the next question. Another project, for example, in the Weiße Siedlung in Berlin, that we asked the children for the most beautiful places, the most nice dreams they have, in a connection to the living environment of them, but as well very not too tough in the environment. They could share their dreams with us, but they needed to produce something which could go in these light boxes. And in the end we have like lots of light boxes, because the problem there is that the lights are all broke down. So we were asked for, maybe you can bring some light into it. And now we have these light boxes where it's like the pictures produced by the children lighting the city. So the main work here is the workshop, not the producing things, not building the architecture. The architecture is just a viewable result in the end. What is the most work is getting connected to the people, connecting the people, doing the workshops and getting results, so that the people, the children in this case, feel empowered and they have the feeling that they are the designers of the project. So the idea is that we're bringing the children together in the workshops and they show us their view of the city, of their environment and of their lifestyle, and they bring it into a picture. We help them to make a picture, and we build light boxes where they can exhibit their pictures in the public space. So it's like the first exhibition. If you're young, this can be really cool, and for the adults it's very interesting because it's a different perspective on the environment they are living in, because the children, they don't have all these influences we still have as adults. And we work together with disabled people and try to figure out what the exhibitions of the future could do better than the exhibitions yet, that it's more inclusive, not depending on your body functions, for example, or on your mind function. So like it's easy language. There's lots of tools that you can use to make the exhibitions more interesting for more people. And this was just about this topic, and we try to figure out, for example, what is the history of it and what is happening now on the topic of inclusion, because there's happening a lot in social media, which has become a platform for the first-hand information. So if you're discriminated by society, you can use social media as a first-hand tool to show your problems to the people, and maybe you will find a community, you will get connected to a community, and it will give you power. And by these movements, the communities became much stronger, and it became results out of the social media communities, which are showable because there's lots of the topics are very fast changing, and there's lots of discussion which is like which needs to be exhibited as well, so that the people out of the community understand the discussions and can follow, and maybe we get new kinds of living together and new ideas as well, with the feedback on the design and architecture of the communities. Another thing I wanted to talk about is we're working together with theaters a lot. And for example, last year we were working together with a feminist theater. They were 30 hours on the marketplace in Leipzig, and they were reading feminist texts. The scenography we built out of straw, and the straw balls were moved all over the marketplace in the 30 hours of lecture of the feminist texts. And while this, it completely changed and became just like one place full of straw. And it was possible to go near to the reading and to go away. It was like a very flexible infrastructure that people could really easily use, which worked out. So as well, we're working as teachers at the university. We try to make hands-on workshops, so getting things done very fast. As I told before, the one-to-one model for me is very important to get the things, to understand the things and how to try them, to check whether they work in the context we want to use them. And the students were told to build in shares for a social partnership. For example, they built like, this was by Black Lives Matters, they built a platform to go to demonstrations, and they had 1 week to design it and to work together. And then they checked it, because in the end of the week there was a demonstration. So they went out with their shares and carried it through the demonstration and checked whether the function they tried to build in was working or not. And afterwards they really tried to improve what they did. Another workshop I did in Saarbrücken at the HBK Saar was called Rethink Economy. So we thought about what can be economies of sharing in a society, and how can we build an infrastructure for sharing in the public space. In the end, the students built this, where they can cook together, eat together. There are like postcards where people can write their stories on it. And this is just 1 week project, so it's always like we're really fast starting and try to get the things done. So in the end, there is a furniture built. So last summer we had a theater tour. We planned and organized, and we built a stage. And the idea was to go in the very small towns in Saxony and to bring the theater where is no theater. Because the background of this is that we have like a right-wing movement in Germany, which is mostly in small towns and mostly in Saxony. So we thought maybe it's a lack of cultural possibilities, and so we brought theaters to these places which have a very democratic content. And so we built the stage, which is like the biggest project we ever did, because it's like you need to transport it. It's from scaffolding, and it's a very big stage, an amphitheater as well. So we wanted to make like this Shakespeare theater is the architecture. We wanted to bring the people to discuss in the end of the theater. So it's like the same idea like before with the amphitheater, but we give an input before, an input to discuss about, and then it worked out that the people had some topics and they talked about, and there came different people with different opinions, very different opinions to the theater. So we had like these right-wing people as well in the theater, because there is no theater, something's happened, all people who are there are coming, and we had like very left and very culturally interested people as well in the theater, and had hard discussions about how the society and as well the future of these towns can be, which is like complicated, but I think in the end, without talking, we won't get a new process, and we won't get a better future for these shrinking towns as well, because the young people are leaving because there is no interest for young people in the towns. And I think without managing and building a future idea, and without building future ideas for these places, there will only stay the old people who don't want changes. So we need to force the changes for a new generation as well. So with the question what the war in Ukraine leaves here in the art scene, and as well for me emotional, I got linked by the residency now, and for me it's very interesting to have like this first hand information from the war. Emotionally I try to block it a little bit, to try to make it possible to have a safe environment here, as well as to produce art here, and maybe to get out of the problems in the head, because I think there's so much in your heads that I don't need to force them there anymore. What's changing in the art scene, I think the biggest topic is how undemocratic movements can become so strong, like Putin and the people behind him, and what we can do to build democratic structures and to build up a network about democratic structures, as well as solidarity into these democratic structures, which is now in the society very interesting, because there is, I see a lot of solidarity which is there by people can live in families, and there is like as well the government is welcoming the people, so I think it's very interesting, as well as we need to be solidarity in the prices are climbing, for example like fuel. Usually all the people would be completely angry to the government, to anything, if the fuel got so expensive. Now the people know the problem, why the fuel is so expensive. So I don't hear the people. I think they know it's a problem we have to solve. This is what we want now. We want to stay solidarity, so it is like it is, and we are fighting for this. On the one hand, on the other hand, there is a fear. There is a fear of positioning, which I can understand as well, because for me it's complicated to have a straight position of something I don't know, because it's a foreign conflict in a way. I just reread what is the conflict about, and I'm in the beginning of understanding. So I think what it changed here is more or less this thought of solidarity and this thought of helping each other and fighting for our democratic systems and fighting against non-democratic systems. Maybe this is a change that happens. I think what happens through the war in Ukraine, that we learn as artists to come closer together, to listen to each other, and as well to fight for our freedom of speech, to fight for our freedom of producing arts, which is very important, and to help each other to do this, because we see what can happen politically, how the people can be cutted, how the people can show their arts, can produce their arts, get into prisons because they try to produce art or to use their free speech. And I think it's very important to show these impressions, because it's the possibility of art is to show, to give an emotional way, for example, to give an expression which can help the people to understand each other, to understand others, as well as it can be an invitation for solidarity. It can help us to come together. It can be used as the beginning of a discussion. It can be a beautiful way to talk about very sad topics as well. And this is necessary, because if we see how negative and how brutal everything is, maybe art is a possibility to start in communication which has more than one way and which opens different views and catches them in a democratic, in a diverse way. So we learn to staying together in a way that we're accepting and that we find the beauty in our diversity. And so this is why we have to fight against governments and dictatorships who are against the art, who are against the freedom of speech, and who are against a diverse society.